It's July 1st, and as expected, the transfer window is starting to heat up. I said, I know we haven't made any major sales, but wait till July 1st. We will get some movement in July. And Garnacho and Rashford's exits are massively heating up. Chelsea interested in Garnacho. We know Villa have some interest. We've got some interest in Watkins. But the big one is Marcus Rashford, who seems to be waiting for Barcelona. But has Bayern Munich entering the race for Marcus Rashford potentially changed his mind? We also know from David Ornstein that Marcus Rashford would say yes to a loan swap deal. Could United be considering that? What is my thoughts on that? Big news is coming out about Manchester United's interest in Fabien Ruiz, and I would absolutely love to see Fabien Ruiz at Manchester United. What a player, what a midfielder. Manchester United to push hard for the midfielder, but can we convince him to join? That is the big question. What is United's current plan of action? What are we working on? What's the latest on Mbeumo, the striker situation? We rejected an opportunity to sign John Duran. What is the latest on Sancho? And we've got some more updates coming in regards to Mecha, another midfielder we've been linked to. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to all your latest Manchester United news, rounded up into 10 minutes. If you do enjoy this short, straight to the point content, feel free to subscribe for daily videos like this, and make sure to hit that like button, as it really helps out the channel. So yeah, let's get into some bits and bobs. So first of all, I'm just going to break down the plan, because the plan is dependent on the outs, and then I'm going to get into the news on the outs, and then I'm going to get into the news of Fabien Ruiz, and then we'll get into Watkins striker situation, all of that as well. But let's talk about it. So this is what's sort of been said by The Athletic, and as you guys will know, The Athletic is probably one of the most reliable sources of Manchester United information. And as you can see on the screen, The Athletic came out and said that Manchester United are prioritising Mbeumo before progressing for any striker like Watkins. The plan is get Mbeumo done, hopefully this week. Can they take any longer? And once we get Mbeumo done, and once we can get the Mbeumo deal over the line, Manchester United will then make moves for other players. They said a movement for a new centre forward could depend on raising funds through sales, and we're going to talk about Garnacho and Rashford, because that's two players that could bring in up to 100 million in pure profit, which would really change the transfer window. What is the latest on their exits? But United have also contracted Eintracht Frankfurt over Hugo Ekitike, was confirmed by The Athletic. Amorim also is a big admirer of Gyökeres, but he obviously prefers Arsenal. But they did say one thing that is a little bit worrying, and they said that Højlund is happy to stay at Manchester United, which for me is a little bit worrying. Oh, I do apologise for that lag spike there, but yes, The Athletic gave a very good and useful update. And Boom was what we're working on. We do like Watkins, we like Ekitike, we like Gyökeres, but any movement on a centre forward depends on sales. They're basically saying we need to go out there and sign Mbeumo, and then what we do after Mbeumo will massively depend on sales, who we manage to sell, etc. in regards to the next deal. But Ekitike, Gyökeres, and Watkins are players we like. And look, Højlund wants to stay. There is interest from Inter and Højlund. We know that Højlund's happy to stay. That could make it harder to sign a striker. On top of signing a striker, after Mbeumo, we also sign a midfielder. We've also got an interesting wing-back and goalkeeper, but again, they all depend on sales. So what is the latest in regards to sales? So it has come out and been said by multiple sources that... Ooh, I don't know what's going on with the connection. I don't know what's going on with the connection. I apologise. There are a lot of discussions via intermediaries from interested clubs over Rashford and Garnacho. As yet, there have been no formal offers, but United are expecting some. With July 1st, there's a bit more interest in Rashford. There's a bit more interest in Rashford. There's a bit more interest in Garnacho now. More clubs are entering the race. There's some talks. There's some conversation ongoing, and Manchester United are now maybe expecting some formal offers. Chelsea are in touch with Manchester United over a potential deal to sign Garnacho as well, confirmed by Tier 1 Laurie Whitwell. So we've now got confirmation of more interest in Garnacho, more interest in Rashford. United are expecting some offers. United are expecting it to heat up. And Laurie Whitwell confirmed that despite signing Gittins, it's true, Chelsea are currently in touch over a potential deal to sign Garnacho. Now, we know with Garnacho, he's got interest from Chelsea, he's got interest from Villa. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But I want to talk about Marcus Rashford, because Marcus Rashford seems to be the one that's going to be the long. Sancho lowers his outrageous, he will go. If Real Betis just give us a better bid, Anthony will go. Garnacho, there's the belief that he will go. The interest is there. The difficult player to move on will be Marcus Rashford. Now, interestingly, David Ornstein came out and said that Marcus Rashford is open to leaving on loan as part of a swap deal if a suitable opportunity arises. He currently favours a switch overseas, is what's been said in regards to Rashford, which is fair. He wants to go to a Champions League club. His dream is Barcelona, but I think if he couldn't go to Barcelona, I think Marcus Rashford would be very open to a Bayern Munich move if he couldn't get that move to Barcelona. I think he wants to go abroad. And David Ornstein is basically saying that Rashford would say yes to a swap loan. Now, I don't want a swap loan. I want permanent for Rashford. I want 40 million, permanent exit for Rashford, and I'd love him to go abroad. That's what I'd love in regards to Rashford. I'd love him to make up with Amorim, come back, find his best form, and make it work at Manchester United, of course. But in an ideal world, right now, we've got to look at Marcus Rashford leaving on a permanent. I don't want a loan swap. I don't want a loan swap for Rashford. I want a permanent deal. And I think you guys do as well. We want 40 million pure profit. Sending Marcus out on loan for a second season is just financially not a good thing to do. If you're sending players out on loan for 2 seasons in a row, it's not the best financial thing to do because Marcus Rashford is very good. I believe in Marcus Rashford's qualities, and I believe for £40 million you're getting a good player for Rashford. I think teams are just taking the mick because they know we're desperate to sell. I think many teams would be willing to spend 40 million on Rashford, but they're going to act like they're not to see if they can get him on loan because they know that United are desperate to offload. If I'm Man United, I'd take him back for pre-season if he's not sold by then, pretend he's made up of Amorim to put pressure on clubs to actually come in and do permanent offers and stop this loan nonsense. We'll only do a loan nonsense. So, what is the latest on Bayern Munich's interest in Marcus Rashford? So, Sport Bild confirmed that Bayern Munich are the newest club interested in Rashford. His name is on the Munich's long list, which includes Barcola, Nico Williams, Leao, and Diaz. Now, Nico Williams looks Barcelona bound. Luis Diaz will be very, very expensive, which brings them in a position where it might be between Rafael Leao, who also is going to be more expensive than Rashford, Barcola, who's also going to be more expensive than Rashford, and Rashford. Now, Rashford is further down that list. There's a lot of players on Bayern Munich's list, but Marcus Rashford is probably the most affordable one to do, particularly with a player willing to take a wage cut as well. 2 of the players on that list, I think, almost not going to happen anyway. They also did have interest in Gakpo, but I think because Liverpool are maybe moving on Diaz, they won't move on Gakpo. But Bayern Munich have some interest in Rashford, and I think while Villa couldn't convince Rashford, I think Bayern Munich could convince Rashford. I think while he wants Barcelona, while he wants Spain, I think he would be open to Bayern Munich. And I think Bayern Munich would be a really good move for Marcus Rashford. I think he would do really well there. I think Kane would get the best out of Rashford. I think, with Leroy Sané gone, I think he's that kind of winger. Bayern Munich are considering a move for Rashford, and Bayern scouts are aware of his profile and the prospect of signing him. There's now further confirmation from a few sources of Bayern Munich's interest in Marcus Rashford, and I think that would be a really good move for Rashford. We've got Chelsea and Villa interested in Garnacho. We've got Barcelona and Bayern interested in Rashford. We're now in July. Teams can spend more. I expect this to heat up a little bit. In terms of a swap deal, I wouldn't want to do a swap deal. I would only want to do a permanent deal in regards for Rashford. Now, in an ideal world, Rashford Musiala swap, Rashford Harry Kane swap, fine. That's never going to happen. I was thinking of players that maybe Bayern would consider swapping. We've got Bowie, Neuer, Pavlovic, Barcelona, De Jong, Lewandowski, Baldi, Kabassi. I don't even think Barcelona would consider swapping any of those players. These are players that maybe these teams would consider swapping, like Pedri and Yamal. We know they're not going to swap. Rafinha, we know they're not going to swap. Kane, we know they're not going to swap. Musiala, we know they're not going to swap. These are players I'd maybe test the waters for. I don't think these clubs would swap for these players. But if we were going to do a swap deal, they're the ones I would test the waters for. But I personally would want a permanent deal only. So let's talk about Fabien Ruiz. Now, Fabien Ruiz, we were linked to him a couple summers ago on the cheap when he was leaving Napoli. And I was so annoyed that we didn't make more of a move for Fabien Ruiz when he was going to PSG. I'm a massive fan of the midfielder, and I'm so annoyed we never made more of a move. I thought he was absolutely fantastic during the Euros last year. He's been fantastic for PSG this year. And I think, if you're at PSG right now, why would you move to Manchester United is my first thought. I think our chances of getting Fabien Ruiz is quite slim because if you're at PSG right now, why would you move to United? But reports are coming out that United have their sights on PSG midfielder Fabien Ruiz, and United want to push hard to sign Fabien Ruiz. Please sign him. Please do a deal. I'd absolutely love Fabien Ruiz. Do I think we'll get him? No. We've got interest in Tonali, apparently. That was a report. I think it was nonsense. I think it was made up. We're not getting Tonali. We're not getting Isak. We're not getting Vitinha. We're not getting João Neves. We're not getting a lot of the players that we get linked to. And I don't think we're getting Fabien Ruiz. But if we push, if we offer him a good contract, you never know. I just don't think you're going to go from PSG to Man United unless you're like Premier League, new challenge. I don't think we're going to get him. I'd love it to happen. I'm sure we're interested in him. Why wouldn't we be interested in him? But I don't think it's going to happen. In regards to other stories coming out, I want to get through these quickly because this video could drag on. Romano said that Manchester United have called about Ollie Watkins in the last 2 to 3 days, but he says, let's see if United decide to go for someone like Watkins and an experienced striker, or Man United look for a young striker. He says, let's see. I think what Romano's saying is, yep, it's true what Laurie Whitwell said. We have interest in Watkins, but let's see how it develops, is what he's getting on to. In regards to other stories, Romano said that Manchester United do not want to spend crazy money on a striker. So if Ekatike's price remains the same, it's unlikely. Also, we know that signing Cunha and Mbeumo has made us more confident of our goal-scoring abilities, which means we're not going to be spending crazy money on a striker in a panic. And Romano did also confirm that Al Nassr gave us the opportunity to sign John Duran on loan as long as we covered all his wages. We said no to that, and a lot of people are like, "Whoa, why would United say no to John Duran? Why would United say no to signing John Duran?" Because John Duran is a victim of social media hype and recency bias. John Duran didn't even start 10 games for Aston Villa. Didn't even start 10 games for Aston Villa, but because he looked good in the odd bits and bobs that people saw him, he got that hype. He went for 75 million. They realised, actually, maybe we shouldn't be spending 75 million on a player that didn't even start 10 games for their current team, who's a problem causer, that's clearly gone to Saudi for the money, and they're willing to ship him out on loan. And Man United don't want to pay, 500 grand a week for a guy? They don't. So I understand why Manchester United have rejected that. And then last but not least, we've got some updates in regards to Sancho from Sky Sports News. Although I say updates, it's not really updates. They just said that Juventus are continuing to work on the Sancho deal and that we want 25 million, which is stuff we already know. I do apologise for connection issues, but thank you for watching this roundup. See you next time.